So you need to have someone in your life that will be able to say, if you are paying for guitar lessons, here's where we need to pump the brakes. In the year 2013, I graduated with my Bachelor of Arts degree in music, where I studied classical guitar. But even before I went to school to learn how to play the guitar, I was given private lessons to people learning how to play the guitar for the first time. In this video, I want to give you a little bit of insight from the perspective of a guitar teacher on what is really worth it when it comes to paying for lessons. Should you be paying for one-on-one lessons with an instructor? Should you be paying for lessons online, or can you simply get everything you need from YouTube channels just like this? Everyone, my name is Chris Green. This channel is Learning Guitar with Chris Green. If you don't mind, hit the like and subscribe buttons to this video. It really tells the algorithm in YouTube that channels like this are pretty interesting. So hit the like and subscribe buttons and we'll continue on with the video. If you are an absolute beginner and you come to me and you say, I want you to teach me how to play guitar, I will ask you, do you know how to play anything on the guitar right now? And if you say, I don't know how to play anything, I don't know how to play chords, I would direct you personally to my YouTube channel. I would say, I've got videos on my channel. I would love for you to go at your own pace, watch these videos, and then come back to me and let's talk about what we can do. Because what I see happening a lot is that as a teacher, of course, I'm eager to get your money. I would love for you to come and pay a bunch of money. And especially if you're a beginner, I know that as a teacher, I really don't have to prepare too much because what we're going to cover is here's how to play a G chord, here's how to tune your guitar, here's how to do your first strumming pattern. These things are very basic, but they apply to everyone. So if you are a beginner, it really doesn't matter if you're learning, like you want to learn how to play country music, you want to learn how to play rock music or heavy metal. No matter what your preference is, you've got to learn the basics. You've got to learn how to tune the 6 strings on your guitar. Even if you're not going to be playing cowboy chords, you should still learn how to play a G chord. You should learn how to play a C chord, a D chord, an E minor, and so forth. So if none of that stuff makes sense to you, my biggest recommendation is number one, to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also go to other YouTube channels. There is enough content on YouTube that is free that you can basically, if you are a self-motivated person, you can walk through literally the first several months of guitar lessons on your own without paying anything. What will also happen is if you are an absolute beginner, you probably don't have any calluses whatsoever on your fingers. So what happens is you come in for a guitar lesson and I start trying to shape your hand in the shape that you need for a G chord. And you start noticing like everything hurts. Your wrist hurts, your fingers hurt. Maybe the tips of your fingers get sliced and you can't play for a few days. Well, if I'm just collecting money from you on a weekly basis, you can see how I could easily take advantage of this situation. And so my biggest communication to you and to especially parents that want their kids to learn how to play guitar is I will say, just so you know, if we start doing guitar lessons together and I notice that we've hit this plateau, like we don't seem to see any progress, you're not practicing during the week, your fingers are not developing calluses, I will insist that we pause on taking guitar lessons. If you do not have a guitar instructor that tells you it is time for us to take a break or it is time to stop, then you probably need to look for a new guitar instructor. Because what could easily happen is kid comes in to play a guitar, they say their fingers hurt, we sit there for 30 minutes to an hour, basically just reminiscing on how painful it is to play the guitar, and we don't see any progress. So you need to have someone in your life that will be able to say, if you are paying for guitar lessons, here's where we need to pump the brakes. Really, the first 6 months of you playing guitar, most of it can be all covered on YouTube, and it can be very basic. Don't get into anything crazy. Don't start looking up scales and pentatonics and solos and very specific songs. You need to be looking for videos like how to tune your guitar, how to play a G major chord, how to play a C major chord. Learn a few chords, and at least when you come in for your lessons, your teacher will have a lot to be able to work with. They can come in and they can say, hey, you're playing your D chord like this. I think you should be playing your D chord like this, and so forth. So absolute beginners, it's not that you can't pay for guitar lessons. You may be a person that pays for guitar lessons. You have a great experience. You have an awesome teacher, and I don't want you to miss out on that. So certainly ask these kinds of questions, but also realize that if you feel like you're just throwing money at it, don't walk away entirely forever, but just be willing to say, hey, can I take a month off? I need to spend a month really getting these calluses, getting these chords figured out. Then can we pick up with guitar lessons later? It'll be good for you, and it should be good for your guitar instructor as well. Next, I want to talk about that process of finding a good teacher. There are plenty of people out there, and hopefully you do live in an area where there's just an abundance of guitar teachers. But I want you to know this first and foremost, that just because someone is a really good guitar player, that does not mean necessarily that they are a good guitar teacher. Now, they should be able to be a good teacher, because if you can really learn something, like if you know how to play the guitar, you should be able to communicate that easily to someone, because you yourself have had the experience. I remember what it was like not knowing how to play my scales and not knowing how to play chords. And so I can sympathize, I can empathize with people that are learning brand new. But if you're working with someone that may be the best guitar player in your town, but they're acting really arrogant or smug, or like they just can't stand being around you or having to put up with your inadequacies, you should definitely look for another guitar teacher, because some of the best guitar teachers out there are not exactly the best guitar players out there. I know it's a little bit confusing, but if you're just starting out on guitar, you're learning how to play chords and stuff, you really need to have a good relationship or a decent relationship with your instructor. You need to be able to communicate them in a way that they're not going to get frustrated at you every time you spout off a sentence. They're going to be able to take the lessons that they're giving you, and they're going to be able to adapt them to your level in a way that you're going to be able to see progress. If you're not seeing any progress and your guitar teacher is just sitting there practicing their scales over and over again while you sit there struggling, that's a sign that you might be around somebody that is just collecting money from you, knowing that you're not going to be able to take that next step. So you need somebody in your corner that's going to say, I believe in you, I know you can get this thing done, and I am 100% glued in on helping you learn that next technique. If they're sitting in the corner and they're practicing their scales, it's a really bad sign. You probably just need to look for another guitar instructor. Now, I mentioned this next part a few times already, but you need to know when to say no. If you're already taking guitar lessons, or if you're taking guitar lessons online and you are literally just throwing money at the system and you're not getting any progress whatsoever, you need to take a step away. It's not going to do you any good to just sit down in a room and have somebody tell you that you're doing it wrong week after week, month after month. You need to be able to really inspect every month that you go, month to month. You need to look at, how much progress have I had? Have I noticed any change? Since I've been taking guitar lessons with this person, has it been going really well? Since I've been watching this video online, or I've been doing this video series that costs money, am I noticing any improvement in my life? Or did I really just pay for something so that I could have that feeling of, well, I pay for guitar lessons, so maybe by osmosis, I'll just be a good guitar player. No, you need to be able to really think critically or criticize yourself in a way that's beneficial to you, so that you can see that progress month to month. Next thing I want to talk about is reaching the top. And by reaching the top, what I mean is being able to raise the ceiling of what you know and what you're able to do on the guitar. When you're starting out, it's very easy to jump on YouTube and type in how to play the guitar, and you'll get lessons on here's how to play some basic chords, here's how to do a few scales, and you can really keep yourself busy for years and years. But there will come a point where you're sitting in front of the computer and you don't know what to search for. Like, if you don't know what a pentatonic scale is, it is almost impossible that you would sit at YouTube and think to yourself, let me just type the word pentatonic scale and see what comes up on the internet. But when you have somebody in your life, like a guitar teacher, somebody that's like on a one-on-one basis, they should be able to give you enough advice on what your next steps should be. And that really is a process of helping you climb the mountain. If you're sitting down with somebody that works at a college or university, or they've got multiple degrees, or they've been playing like in a jazz ensemble or a band for years and years, they're going to be able to tell you things that you didn't know that you didn't know. And that's really the biggest benefit of having a one-on-one paid for lessons person in your life. Because if you're watching this YouTube video right now, I can give you general advice. I might be able to make a video saying, here's how to start finger picking on the guitar, but I don't know you personally. I don't know what struggles you have on the guitar. The only way I'm going to find that out is if we were like on a Zoom call together, or we had a one-on-one private lesson. So If you have an instructor, if you're going to the music store or whatever it might be, your teacher should be able to help you climb the ladder so that year to year, your ability is constantly rising. If you are somebody that considers yourself a self-feeder and you're on YouTube all the time, you can certainly learn how to play different songs. There's plenty of material out there. But the biggest case for having a private instructor in your life is that you need somebody that can specifically give you a lesson that's tailored to where you're at in life. So just as a recap here, if you're an absolute beginner, you have more available to you than has ever been made available for free here on the internet. So you don't necessarily have to be watching the videos here on my channel, but if you need a starting point, I've got a series of videos called Acoustic Primer that's here on my YouTube channel. It's completely free. It's going to show you how to tune your guitar, where to put your fingers so you can start playing your first basic chords, your first couple of strumming patterns, and so forth. All that is free. And before you start paying for lessons, you need to go ahead and work through the pains of developing some calluses and making sure your wrist is not just on fire every time you're playing the guitar. Then when you start to get into that level of like, okay, I know a few chords, I know how to strum a few different songs, I just need a little bit of extra in my life. That is when you need to start kind of communicating in your area, your local music store, or maybe asking around with friends and family. Does anybody know of any good guitar teachers in the area? That guitar teacher is going to be relieved, or should be relieved, when you come to them and you already know how to tune your guitar. You already know a few chords on the guitar. You'll notice that your abilities will really increase dramatically month to month. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.